Week 16 is in the books. The holiday games are over. Oh my God. Thursday, Saturday, Sunday, 3 on Christmas. What?
It was great.
How's that hangover? The little holiday football hangover we all have.
A lot.
I do
There's a
not
lot back
have
to back.
any hangover here.
We're going to
you're
get to it.
that
We're going to
hardcore.
get to it. Today's a special day, obviously. We're going to talk about all the games. Happy holidays to everybody. Now we're coming on to the new year. And because the Raiders pulled out a win, we thought it would be great to have a Raider fan on with us. Our friend, our follower, Jen from Football is Sexy.
Thank you.
By the way, we have a flag football team.
Yes.
And that is because of Jen.
Very cool.
Jen, you want to tell us
thank
a little bit
you.
about that? And by the way, we are going to get to the Niners and the Ravens and all the games, but real quick, tell us how
Sure.
how did we end up with the flag football team?
So, we met through a mutual person.
That's true.
And you left me a football is sexy squeezy ball.
Oh, that's right.
And I reached out and said, hey, I'm like all about this. What is football is sexy? So I play in a co-ed football league for adults in Huntington Beach. And we put together an all-girls team. And we crushed it in the summer playing against co-ed. These co-ed guys and teams would come in thinking they had a handicap against us because we had girl safeties, girl rusher, girl quarterback. And we beat the number 1 seed to go to the championship.
Yeah, you did.
It was
to hear
awesome.
it.
So,
Love that.
Sporting our football is sexy jerseys. Yes.
Yes,
Very
I
cool.
love it.
We
Well,
love to hear it.
congratulations.
Thank you.
Isn't that amazing?
Yes.
All women. I love
Love
it.
it.
So, well, thank you for being here.
Of course. Thanks for having me.
Now, we got to address
Start with the first game.
the elephant in the room. And it's not because this is just what we do. We
Right.
always start
With the first game.
with the first most recent game. And that was last night, 49ers and the Ravens. Everything we were looking forward to. And then
It was a Super Bowl preview game, in
it
my
was.
opinion.
It
Yeah.
was.
Okay, so let's everybody take a breath in.
Well, I'm going to take a breath, but I will say this.
I have my inhaler if you need it, Monica.
I know it's so funny because either when a game like that happens, either my cell phone goes completely silent.
Yeah.
No one's like, I'm going to give her a day, or it starts going crazy. And actually, I think it was Christmas. Thank God that game was
wanted
at
to be
night,
nice.
by
Yes.
the way. Thank God it wasn't a morning game because that would have set the whole day.
Yeah.
But like it was a night game and I was already tired. But let's talk about it. I mean, there's a lot to say. There's a lot to unpack here.
Yeah.
Everybody knows I'm a diehard faithful, and I am still a diehard faithful.
Yeah, of course.
Win,
As you
lose,
should be.
or tie, right? So that's never going to change. But we do have to talk about it. I mean, I think there's so many things to talk about, but I think the first thing it would be Brock Purdy just lost the MVP.
Yeah.
Period. End of
Yeah.
story. I don't think he can come back from this. The
I
guy
agree.
could throw, have 400-yard, last 2 games with no intercept. I just think he's done.
Yeah.
I
I have a lot of friends who tell me the same thing too. I was just on the phone with somebody on the way here and they told me he could throw 9 touchdowns the next 2 games and it wouldn't mean anything. It would discolored everything for
I
his
don't agree.
contention.
Yeah.
I don't agree.
But if enough people feel like that, I mean, I don't agree, but that's like from a biased
You think
point
he
of
could
view.
come back from this?
Yeah, I think he can come back from this. He had an off game.
As an
It was a
MVP?
Yeah, I still think as an MVP. Look, he had an off game. Tell me what quarterback this year hasn't had a disgusting game.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, I will say the Ravens defense kind of showed up.
Kinda.
It was a hard game for me to
They
watch.
really
My
showed
brother's a Ravens fan. Monica's a Niners fan. And, I'm getting so much flack
The
because of my
allegiance.
Niners allegiance
That's
for the rest
right.
of this year.
She came out
Yes.
as a Niner fan.
Yes.
Welcome.
I said it. For the rest of this year, I'm a big Niner fan. You should have seen
That's
me
disgusting.
clapping.
No.
And I just think that Brock had a really hard game. Ravens pass rush defense was insane.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
There's still a comeback, though.
Now, just because I'm saying I think he lost the MVP does not mean I don't believe in him. I do
Right.
not, none of that. But I think that the voters,
Right. Enough people out there see it that way.
And actually, I have to tell you guys this. Before the game even started, over the weekend, I thought about it. I'm like, if I was voting, who would I vote for? And I came, before this game even, I had decided that if I had a vote, I would have voted for Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah.
And the reason why he would get my vote is because, 1, he's been in the league so much longer. 2, he's been an incredible running back on a shitty team, and that was with the Panthers.
Right.
And And he was still putting up numbers with a team that wasn't good. And now he comes with the Niners, and now he's putting up even more incredible numbers. He only missed that one game with that touchdown. Remember that? So I just think he's killing the game. And Jen, what do you think? Because you're probably the unbiased, the Raider fan here. What did you think about that game?
I mean, I thought it was sad, right? You come from where his status, right? And then you throw 4 interceptions, and then he's in the medical tent. So it's unfortunate. And I don't know. I don't know if you come back from that, but.
Well, let's look at the numbers. So Purdy had 4 interceptions, 0 touchdowns. It was just bleak. Kittle, though, did his thing. I always say everybody needs a Kittle. Right? Everybody needs a Kittle. 7 receptions, 126 yards. McCaffrey did his things, 14 rushes, 103 yards, and 1 TD. Here's the problem, though, with what I'm seeing, and this was talked about. I love Kyle. I love my coach. I think he's one of the best offensive coaches minds in the game. But he cannot win when we are down. And the stat is 0 for 38. 38 games when trailing by 8 or more.
Wow.
In the fourth quarter since 2017.
Wow.
That is the biggest problem as a Niner fan that I see more than anything is we can't seem to win in the last fourth quarter. And in this league, how many games do we have that are decided in the fourth quarter?
So many important games.
Big games.
Yeah.
And then my head goes back to Kyle. I love you, but then I remember the Atlanta Super Bowl with Brady. We were up. The Falcons were up, and it just that concerns me moving forward. But you have to give it to the Ravens.
Yes.
Right? Because first of all, I don't know if you guys saw this.
What?
This is when I was like, oh boy, you guys know I'm a serious, fan, right? And here's what I saw in the beginning again. First of all, we lost to a Super Bowl caliber team.
Absolutely.
So let's
100%.
we didn't lose to the Panthers.
No.
We didn't lose to the Patriots.
The Jets.
The Jets. We lost to a team who has a possible MVP, proven quarterback.
Yeah.
A team that is literally supposed to be in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
One of the best in the AFC. So we didn't lose to a bad team. We lost to a great team. What I didn't like, though, and I might get in trouble for this, but it was family day. The Niners, if you looked at the pregame, there was a ton of people on the sidelines. Everybody's families, all the players' families, because it was Christmas. And now I look at this, and I wonder if the Niners will look at this as well. I felt like we forgot that we had a game that is an important game on the line.
Yeah.
And we were more kind of caught up in the Christmas, the families, all the families are there. It was more like, I don't know, we weren't as serious as I think I would have liked to have been. And the Ravens didn't have their family there.
Right, because
they came to kick our ass.
But the Ravens were traveling.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So, and then you got to look at it this way. How many teams, how many different leagues play on Christmas
Right.
Day?
How many other teams? Yeah.
Everybody knows it's going to happen.
Yeah.
Here's my take on this. First off, again, this to me was a Super Bowl preview.
Yeah.
That's what I thought was happening. And only a running back, but can run and catch like a wide receiver.
Yeah.
You got a tight end in Kittle who can block.
Yep.
Like, that's what's going to make this big. Debo Samuels is a little tank running up and down the field. This was an off day. And did you notice who wasn't running yesterday was Lamar? Lamar Jackson, he
ran enough.
But
He
they're
ran
pushing
enough.
him.
Yeah.
Finally. But they're pushing him into staying into that throwing quarterback role.
He actually had 7 carries for 45 yards.
I get it.
And
but
one of them, I was like, can we get him?
2 touchdowns and no interceptions.
But one of
It
them was
just
33 yards.
So
it was 7 carries, but one of them was 33.
Yeah.
So think about that for a second.
No, it's true.
But I think when you see him contrasted with Brock Purdy, especially yesterday.
Yeah.
Their performances were different. You saw an all-star superstar quarterback and one that just wasn't there yesterday. And I think
Brock.
that's just what it was. And that and the defense, that and the Ravens defense, those two things, I think that's
Brock
just what brought
Purdy.
them down.
I don't know if you
mean.
noticed, this was the first time he had a little swag to him today. He let
Brock Purdy. I'll say it for the third time. That man has been getting it so raw and hard lately. What reporter asked him like, "Oh, did you see what Trevor Lawrence got for his team? Did you see what this player got for his team? He got everyone golf carts." And poor Brock was like, "I don't make that money. I cannot afford to buy my entire line golf carts. Like, give the guy a break for a second.
know.
Yeah.
You know what? He had a bad day and it happened to be on Christmas.
Yeah. No, I agree 100%.
He's also planning a wedding right now.
Come
so
on.
he needs a little bit of funding for
That's
that,
all
okay?
his
The
money's going to
fiance
that.
wants
Yes.
the good
Come
stuff.
on.
But I have a question for you. So I don't know if you guys I'm sure we're all locked in the game, right?
Yeah.
But in the third quarter,
Okay.
I'm wondering, do you just sit Brock out and just say, it's not your day today? Like, because the third quarter killed us. They scored 17, we scored 0.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just wondering, everyone's like, you don't give up on your quarterback and all that. But I'm just questioning, do you just at some point when your quarterback is just not performing, where you say, you take him aside and you know what? We're not benching you, but we are benching you. But like, we can tell it's just not your day.
We've seen that a few times this year.
Right?
Take a mental break.
We've seen
Would
it a
you
few
take
times.
a little break?
Yeah.
Not for Brock. Not when your team is an upper echelon team and people are talking Super Bowl stats, with you. Like, yeah, you want to do it for the Jets. Sure. You want to do it for those teams. Yeah. But like not him. I think you can't lose his mentality right now.
Right.
But I did like when they sat him, when they were like, he kind of might have gotten a boo-boo.
Yeah.
We're just going to sit.
Yep.
But they were like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's like,
take a
does it
seat,
hurt?
buddy.
And he's like, no. Yeah, it does. Sit down.
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
No, I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah. Let's just give a little bit more love because the Ravens killed it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I get it.
Lamar had 23 for 35, 252 yards, 2 touchdowns. He looked amazing. Flowers was unstoppable. 9 receptions, 72 yards, 1 TD. And, let's not forget, because I had to remind myself, because honestly, I haven't watched a lot of the Ravens.
Yeah.
And every time I do, they lose. I'm not good for the Ravens other than last night. But let's just talk about this. They've had 3 losses. They lost to Cleveland, pretty good team, 33-31 by 2. They lost to the Steelers by 1 touchdown, 17-10.
Okay.
And they lost to the Colts in overtime, 22-19. This is a winning team right now.
Yeah.
And they showed it last night. But I did have a little PTSD, and we'll wrap up with this. And I don't know if you girls remember, but in 2000, I think it was 13, Super Bowl 47.
Oh, I remember.
Bad nightmare.
My friend got a tattoo because they lost that game.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Did
Never
you
forget.
did that come back to you
100%.
watching the game? I'm like,
That game, I remember the stench of San Diego watching that game and just being like, what is happening? And Joe Flacco's smiling face. And I gotta.
and for you newbies, just so you know, the Niners had a coach, Jim Harbaugh, and his brother was on the other sideline
Yes.
for the Baltimore Ravens, John. And so it was the brother Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And it was also known as the Lights Out Super Bowl.
Yeah.
If you remember,
Click, click.
the Niners
right.
were winning, looking great, and then the lights in the stadium went out. And it stopped for 15 minutes?
More.
20?
Was
it was like a
25?
long
Long
time. Do you
time.
remember that?
Yes, a
Do you
long
remember
time.
that? And then it killed
That
our
shifted
momentum,
the entire
right?
momentum.
And
Right?
Ray Lewis.
It shifted the whole
Just-
thing. So, yeah. I guess before we end with this, what do you guys think? Do you guys think that we just witnessed a preview?
Yes.
Do you really think that these are going to be the 2 teams?
Yeah, 100%.
Oh, she's got something to
Here we
say.
go.
You know what? Let's just bring you in.
I don't know.
We're going to skip. Let's just go right into the Raiders.
I mean, I'm not saying the Raiders are going anywhere, but yeah, I am a true fan on that. But yeah,
How about that Raider Chiefs game? A Nickelodeon game, by the way.
Let's talk about it.
Nickelodeon said, this is the game we want to sponsor, the Raiders Chiefs game. And I
all
said,
things.
what?
but that's like your cameraman just saying that they like the Raider brand, right? I mean, no one says they like the Raider brand. So then you got Nickelodeon that comes in, wants to sponsor a Raider game.
That was
I don't,
odd.
it was definitely a Christmas miracle, I think. For that, but
That was
Yeah,
odd.
that's
Out of all teams,
yeah, that's
You know what? It wasn't a great quarterback performance on either side, but the Raiders D and special team showed up and dominated. And I challenge any one of you to say that Pierce has not put in a great resume onto why he shouldn't be your head coach next year.
Yeah,
He's
absolutely.
changed the culture of your team.
Yes.
well, I mean, the culture is the culture, right? He is the culture, so I think that's hard, right? As a Raider fan, I think that we're sticking to stereotypes.
Okay.
I'm not sure if I believe in him yet. I mean, you got to earn it, right? You got to bleed silver and black. You got to bleed some blood for me to be like, yes, I'm for you. Do I think he is a huge step up? 1,000%. I mean, he came into that game saying it's going to be a violent game. You know, they were not going out without a fight. I mean, anytime you watch Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce throwing temper tantrums on the sideline, that's a win for me.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So I think
You
tables.
agitated them.
Well, I mean, Max Crosby's a beast.
Yep.
So I think him getting in there, you know, Jack Jones with that pick six. I mean,
Yep.
what were they going to do? It
Yeah.
was, I mean, it was glory. Anytime the Raiders don't, you know, lay an egg, I'm happy. So whether they would have I mean, they played phenomenal yesterday.
Yeah.
So
that was a great game. I was excited to watch it. By the way, I had my little cousin who's a Raider fan, and we watched it together, and I was so excited. And that's what I love about football, right? Is like it brought us together, and it's how we bond. You know, unfortunately, he had lost his dad, my uncle, and so. You know, we have that football connection. His dad was a Raider fan, and I know how that is.
love
So,
that.
you know, we keep his Raider fandom alive, you know? And so I went for the Raiders because that's how we do, right?
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? But I got to tell you, because I am a Niner fan, like you said, watching the Chiefs explode was amazing. It was the best Christmas present I had because I didn't
Amen.
have it at night. I had it in the morning. But do you guys realize that Kelce has not had a touchdown in the last 6 games?
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Well,
think
you
the last-
you can't count the one they called back.
But wait, the last one he had, I think, was in November against the Eagles.
I'm
and
looking
the
at
last,
you.
and it's
And you know
It's
what?
been-
I'm blaming
just
you, T.
saying,
Swifter.
You know where that's coming from.
it's been over 9 games since he's had over 100 yards too.
He's too
It's
distracted.
It's
That's what I want
he's
to say.
just like Tony Romo when Jessica Simpson would wear the
Yes!
pink cowboy jersey
Yes!
and the fans lost their.
Yes.
This is it. And when they break up and Taylor Swift goes on album
And wins a
bash
Grammy.
in the NFL,
and wins a Grammy. Yeah.
everyone's going to take this to heart.
You have to talk about it because not only is he just possibly distracted,
Yeah.
I think it's the whole team.
Yeah.
Like now you're talking Patrick Mahomes before the game talking about how Taylor's just part of the team. Why are we talking about that?
I know.
Shut up.
I know.
Stop
It's
it.
weird.
Shut up.
It's
What
weird.
a disrespect to the people that are actually wives.
Correct.
You're saying this girlfriend is a part of our team? Excuse you. Some people here have wives that are actually giving their blood, sweat, and tears to be a
Yeah.
part of this team, watching them kids run up and down. And you know what? That was so dumb of him.
I know.
So dumb.
It doesn't shock me though.
But we do have to bring this up. So the Raiders pulled out a win with Aiden having 62 yards. 900. I mean, sorry. He went 9 for 21.
Yeah, it wasn't a good
It
quarterback
wasn't a
performance.
great quarterback
Either side.
performance, but it was enough to get the win.
But
I
the
think-
defense got them that win.
Yeah.
Just like the defense gets them that win.
Yep.
Almost every other game.
You got 14 points from your defense.
Yeah.
And you had Jack Jones with his interceptions, 33 yards. The fumble return, remember the mess up between
Yes.
Pacheco and Mahomes? I was like, oh my
Yes.
God, this is great. I think, what is his name? Nichols? He scored. He ran that in. And then Zamar White. I mean, in for Josh Jacobs, and he had 22 carries, 145 yards, and he averaged 6.6 yards. I mean, it was enough to get the win
Yeah.
and then some.
Yeah.
And you know, like you had mentioned about AP, it's like I have to be honest. Like I really think I've said it from day
Yeah,
one, right?
you have.
Is that I think he's your next head coach.
Long
He
Beach,
fits-
his vibe, his
he fits. But I have to be honest. I'm like, is he really calling any plays, or is he just like the mascot?
a figurehead. Yeah.
Yeah, is he?
Oh.
He might be. He
right?
might be.
He's a
I'm
great
just
coach.
saying, he's a great coach.
I think he's
She
a great
likes-
coach.
She likes Ron Rivera too. So,
I do.
You know,
I do,
He's
but-
gonna get canned
But the
any
but
minute.
the players love AP.
No,
I mean,
love
they want to
him.
play for him, and that's what you want, right?
Agreed.
They
Right.
did not want to play
Yeah.
for Josh McDaniels, so we'll
Says
see.
a
I don't know. Jury's still out for I think any true Raider fan, the jury should still be out.
You think so?
Yeah, listen, we've been a shit team for decades.
You've had your heart broken, so now you're wary.
I mean,
stepping into a new
I'm
relationship.
a realist, right?
I understand.
Like
Yes.
we'll see what happens.
Totally.
Who knows?
Well, I just don't think you're gonna have another head coach that's gonna be better fit.
No, I mean, he's definitely
We'll
a good
see.
fit.
Yeah.
But that to me, what does that equate, right? Culture, does that equate wins? Does that equate losses?
Yeah. No, I see what you're saying.
So we'll
But
see.
either way, Kansas City. This is what makes me happy. They're gonna have to go on the road.
Yep.
Yeah, I love
And
it.
at the end of the day,
Bye-bye, Wednesday.
they have only got to the Super Bowl by playing at home.
Yes.
I have
So-
already
And the
counted them
Arrowhead,
out.
their little Arrowhead Invitational that they've hosted for, for all these years. Bye-bye. Not this year.
Yeah.
Not this year, Chiefs.
Yeah.
No.
So
Yeah.
that's going to be exciting. And you know what? That gives us a nice segue into Detroit.
Them boys.
Oh my gosh.
Detroit.
Oh, you wanna go to
Detroit. I
first?
Detroit.
Yeah, no, let's do it.
What are we going to do? Let's talk about
Guys,
it.
I'm so proud. Okay, so I started this year. She's like, I feel like I need to fill her in. I started this year and I just had a good feeling about the Lions. I'm like a Niners fan through marriage, but so I love the Niners, and I have my son, my oldest, is a diehard Niners fan, so I couldn't, he would kill me. But my second team, I'll say, is the Lions, and they have just not disappointed this year. I am so impressed again and again with them, just really making a play for just the obviously number one in the NFC North, but just making a play for these playoffs and not stopping, just, when they get a little bit of footing underneath them, just continuing on. And they just had just a great game all in all, you guys. I mean, from Goff down to St. Brown, it was so fun to watch.
And it was their first divisional title since
30 years.
1993.
30
30 years.
Like my
And
lifetime.
I went down the rabbit hole, right? So the last time they had a divisional title,
Yes.
are you ready for this? Jurassic Park was one of the top movies.
Yes,
Jurassic Park.
I saw that.
Wait, and this one really shocked me. Do you remember Sleepless in Seattle?
Yes.
30 years ago.
Wow.
And
crazy.
the top song in 1993 was Whitney Houston, I Will Always Love You.
Oh my
That just
God.
gives you a little bit of an idea of how long it's been.
No,
of
and
a drought.
15 years ago, Dan Campbell, their coach, was on the team, and they were 0 for 13 at this point. So it's just amazing to see them 15 years later. He's the head coach, and look where they're at. It is so exciting.
But let's give some love to Metafamu.
Ooh.
Metafamu has been on this team 3 years. Not a lot of play time. No one really pays attention to him. Last game, what was it, like 9 tackles, a sack, a forced fumble? This game, a bunch of sacks and a touchdown.
Yes.
Give the love to Metafamu, okay?
Yeah.
Because the Lions were scary for a second there because the Vikings had those back-to-back touchdowns.
Yes,
And you're
yes.
like, uh-oh. But then 54 seconds left. Metafamu grabs that ball and goes, not today.
Yes.
Not today, Minnesota.
Yeah.
This is my game to win.
Poor Nick Mullins.
I know.
Yeah, he did the best he could. He did
used-
the best he could.
He used to be a Niner. He's been around the
Yeah.
league. I kind of felt a little bit bad for them, but
But the Lions were garbage last year.
They
know.
were.
Look at them this
They
year.
were, yeah.
if you're a
Look at
football-
'em.
If you're a football fan and somebody had texted me, I was like, shoot, because as a Niner fan, you're hoping everybody in the NFC loses. And
Right.
so as a Niner fan, I wanted them to lose. But as a football fan, you have to be happy for Detroit. You just
gives
do.
me hope.
I love
Yes,
yes,
yes.
Yeah.
My
Well, we'll
Chargers
get
were
there.
garbage this year.
We're-
Maybe next year,
It may
guys.
take 30
Come
years,
on.
but you can rebuild.
You can rebuild.
And here's the thing: Detroit could get the number 1 seed.
Yes. Is
That
that
would
wild?
be crazy. And by the way, Eminem, who is
I mean, Marshall Mathers.
Marshall Mathers,
mascot.
rapper, right, from Detroit,
Yes.
he tweeted X, whatever you guys call it nowadays.
I don't know.
Yeah.
He was all excited about Detroit, and so I love seeing teams who've had those kind of droughts.
He was so excited. He was like, I won. I mean, we won.
He
I don't know how to
corrected
say
himself.
it.
I saw
Somebody
that.
won. We won. I won. I don't know who
Like
won.
frazzled trying to type.
Oh my God.
that's
so
so funny.
congratulations to all the Detroit fans, and
So much love for
I
them.
you
know. Oh,
for
thank
following
you.
them.
Well,
All
now
right.
next week is Dallas. So
Yeah, we're
we'll
gonna
see how that goes.
Actually, that's
Dallas didn't fare so well.
let's talk about it.
Yeah,
let's talk
go there.
about
Let's
the
go there.
Dolphins and the Cowboys. And oh my God, is it just me or do these games seem like weeks ago?
Weeks
so
ago.
many
Weeks and
games
weeks.
have
A
gone
lot of
on.
eggnog in our system. 'Cause, you know.
I mean, it's been. I had to
tired.
review because I'm like, it
Yes.
seemed like I've been through so many emotions in 4 days.
Okay, but remember last week, every kicker just couldn't get their stuff
Oh.
together. But this week, Mr.
Oh.
Sanders, I'm calling Winnie the Pooh because that's what Winnie the Pooh's name is above his door. Mr. Sanders came out 5 for 5 for the Dolphins.
22 points in fantasy.
Three, yeah, and 3 of
Crushed
which were
it.
from the 50-yard line.
Crushed it.
He had a great game. Miami's defense showed up. They've been getting better every week. I don't know what else to say. I mean, 2 weeks ago they had 12 QB hits. I think this week there was 5 or 6.
Yeah.
Like they're just crushing it.
Yeah.
And a sack, get out of here.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, they won by 2 points though.
I don't care.
20-22. Well,
It's still a win.
it is a win, but let me tell you guys how close this game really was. Are you ready for the stats?
Oh yeah.
So this is Dallas and Dolphins comparison, right? Total yards, Dallas 339, Dolphins 375. Passing yards, Dallas 242, Dolphins 284. Close. And the rushing yards, 97 to 91. 6
Wow.
yards difference.
Very close.
And the yards per play, 5.6, 5.9. I mean, it was such.
It's close.
It was a close game, but didn't feel like a close game, did it?
No,
I
it
mean,
didn't.
Because Dak had 2 touchdowns, Dolphins only had 1, but the defensive showing made it feel like this isn't close. Dolphins are just dominating.
Yeah.
Even though, Dak found a way with CeeDee Lamb and Cooks and this is what Dak wanted, right? Dak kept saying, give me this stage, give me this stage. We gave it to you. And this was a close one, but it didn't feel close watching it.
Miami just killed the clock.
Yeah.
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 Really good time control. That's
Yes.
a huge
Oh my God.
Yes.
So when the Niners lost last night, I'm like, God, is this how Dallas feels? I really thought that. I'm serious.
I get
because
it.
we've been spoiled for so long. I was like, I don't like this feeling. I can't imagine feeling this week after week. I'm not good with this.
No.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
But then I literally was thinking about Dallas fans. I'm like, oh, this is how Dallas feels.
how they feel.
Anyway, I don't know. So yeah, I mean, we got to talk about the Chargers.
Why? No.
Don't we?
No.
No.
Oh,
What do you
no.
want to talk about?
I mean,
What you mean when the Bills were down 10-0 and we still lost?
yeah,
Yeah.
pretty much.
Yeah.
No,
Nothing to talk about. It was a game that no one good was playing in. I mean, did anybody honestly think Josh Allen was going to come and lose to the Chargers? Had they lost, it would have been detrimental, not only mentally, but obviously to their playoff picture.
Yes.
But it was just a terrible game. I don't know what anybody wants me to say. A stick is whatever of a quarterback. A stick? I don't even know. Quarterback, he's great. Sure.
the Chargers had 5 field goals. And here's the good news. You made all 5. So your kicker, Cameron Dicker, went 5 for 5. So that's the best thing I think that came out of the game.
I will say the best thing to me was we did see a defensive shift with the Chargers. We saw a lot more creativity. With Staley gone, there's a new chief in charge.
Yeah.
And I think defensively, it looked a little bit more adult. That's the word I'm going to use.
Yeah.
Adult, less peewee.
Yeah.
And that's all I cared about. Again, I'm going to just pray we're like the Lions. We're going to have a bad year.
Yes.
Next year, we're going to come back and be great.
Oh, yes.
as
Absolutely.
a Raider fan, do you have anything to say about watching the Chargers lose or?
I mean, of course, I love when the Chargers and the Broncos and the Chiefs take a dump. I mean, who doesn't, right? So, I mean, it did not shock me that you guys gave up 10
The only
points on me.
problem I have with the Bills is I feel like they're not a 4-quarter team. And I feel like they can't show up consistently all 4 quarters. And that's going to be the detriment.
Yeah.
Like we just talked about with the Niners in the 4th in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So again, nobody expected the Bills to lose this game.
No.
I don't know what you want me to say.
They were in my pick'ems.
Do you know Josh Allen? I looked at the QBR this morning, and Josh is still up there. Brock
Yeah.
is actually still number 1. And Josh was number 3. I can't remember who was number 2. So you have these teams and these guys that even though they're struggling or they're losing, the numbers say different.
Right.
I did, looking at going back to Brock Purdy for a minute, I was like, here we go. We're going to have this whole Brock, sucks. He's back to that. Or he's, a system quarterback. And I went down the rabbit hole. I wanted to find out the scouting on him. And one of the scouting things was they didn't like his size. I found that to be interesting.
It is.
So he's only 6'1". And
Only.
I will tell you, watching that game, and you were seeing the passes being batted, I was like, and I say that because Josh Allen, 6'3", right? The average quarterback height is like 6'3".
Yeah.
And the higher end on that is 6'4", 6'5". And Josh is just a big dude. And it was just another thing I noticed was like, okay, I mean, listen, no excuses, right? The Russell Wilsons of the world.
Yeah.
They're out there. But I did what kind of hit me. I was like, oh, there's the 2 inches.
Yeah.
Oh, that's weird. That's a weird thing, right? There's a 2-inch difference. Whatever.
It does matter.
It does matter.
It does
apparently,
matter.
right?
No, it does. It does. And, what can you do? Well, when you talk about QBs, though, give the flowers to Joe Flacco. My man.
Dude, 38-year-old Flacco.
38-year-old, 11 completions, 368 yards, and 3 touchdowns to end that game.
Yep.
Not to mention Amari Cooper setting a franchise record of 265 yards.
That was so cool.
Wow.
That was so
Could you
cool.
imagine if Amari was on an actual good team?
I know.
Like what he would do?
Oh,
Well,
Lord.
I don't know if
I
you
don't
guys
know.
saw
He
the
didn't do
meme.
much for the Raiders, so we'll see.
Oh,
We'll see, you know.
Get it.
Poor Amari.
I mean, I'm always a little like, ugh. I had to dig, kind of tripped as he ran in for that touchdown. But Joe Flacco, 41 points for fantasy. So
Oh, yeah.
who would have thought?
Joe had 41. Amari had 44. I mean,
Big.
Did you have a good
big.
fantasy this week?
So I lost to, Lamar Jackson. But yeah, to go on to win $600. But yes. So, I'm
I
a
had
little
Lamar
bit
Jackson on
hurt.
my team.
And Flacco was on my bench. So,
Oh, jeez.
for Matt Stafford.
Well,
Dang.
the Browns, talking about Detroit since
Yeah.
1993, the Browns haven't won a divisional title since 1989.
Wow.
Wow.
That's even worse than Detroit.
Wow.
In fact, Purple Rain came out in 84. So that's you know what I mean?
Wow.
Just to give you an idea, I didn't go down the rabbit hole in 1989, but I just remember everything is like from Purple Rain 1980. Oh my God, can we talk about them for a minute?
oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Let's talk about the Eagles Giant game. That was the middle game yesterday. I know
Yes,
it seems like
I
so
know,
many games
like-
again. I don't know if you guys did. Anyone really watch? I mean,
Oh, I did.
I did
I
too.
did.
Oh,
And
yeah.
it started off pretty traditional. And then at the end, you were like, what did I miss? I went to the bathroom.
that's what happened to
Totally.
me.
Huh?
I literally I think I went to go get food. I came back and I'm like, wait, where's Tommy DeVito?
Yes.
What happened? And I literally
Sit him-
wait, let me rewind. I was so confused. And I'm like, oh, he got benched.
Yes.
I was like,
Talk
okay.
about getting benched. There you go.
About not believing in your quarterback.
No, I know. I'm not.
I mean, I
Tommy
think
Cutlets.
that's business, though. I do think you should pull them. If they're not delivering, they're not playing, pull them. That's what they did.
But the
You run the
Giants are
risk.
not the Niners.
No.
The Giants have no hope. At this point, it's like, let's just give our fans something fun to watch. What do we care if his mentality isn't the same? His freaking agent looks like Inspector Gadget.
Yes.
What do we care?
Yes.
But you're not going to, I don't do that to Brock Purdy. You can't break
but
his
you also
mental
have
game.
to no, and it's just a conversation because you also have to think the Niners are in contentions for a Super Bowl, right?
Right.
And the last thing we need is Brock to be hurt in a
Yes.
game that we're losing 21 points up by.
Yes.
So
get it.
and I'm not saying I don't know the answer. I'm
Yeah.
just saying that's a question that I wonder if I'm a coach and I'm seeing
It's a major consideration.
right.
Yeah.
I'm seeing this is not his day.
Right.
So why do I keep him out here?
Yeah. We can't afford for him to get hurt.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying if we're coaches,
Yeah.
maybe we'll pull Brock aside and say like, how do you feel right now?
Yes.
Right? It wouldn't be like
What
how
do you want
and I
to
would
do?
feel it out
Yes.
maybe.
Yes. Make it
And-
think it's his idea. That's the.
You know what I mean? Like what if
How
Brock
do you
said,
feel?
you know
Oh, I
what?
think you want this, right?
I don't feel good. I'm not
Because maybe they want that out. Maybe they need that out.
Right, right.
To just take a day.
Yeah.
Hey, this is not my day. Maybe. I don't know. I think anyone, you're the top 1% athlete. You're not going to probably say, hey, it's not my day. you're going to keep grinding. But
Yeah.
The problem is, and we shouldn't, as a coach, probably worry about this, but the problem is, had Kyle done that, the scrutiny would have been crazy.
Yeah.
Wild.
Oh my
Yeah, it
God.
would've been
Kyle benches the MVP. The whole
Potential,
headlines
yeah. Right.
behind that would have been a nightmare. But yeah, I mean, going back to the Eagles and the Giants, here's another team that is supposed to be in the Super Bowl conversation, and they just don't look good.
Did not see this coming. No.
I mean, the Eagles, I'm worried about my own team more than the Eagles right now, but like they've lost 3 in a row, so that at least they broke the streak.
Right,
They
right.
pulled out the win. For a benched Tommy DeVito, Tyrod Taylor comes in.
Yeah.
It was so confusing to me, but like Jalen had 24 for 38, 301 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. And then I looked at it because the stats, you had 2 quarterbacks,
Yeah.
right? But as a combined with Tyrod and DeVito, they had 16 for 32, 188, and 1 TD and 1 interception. Pat Matricia, what's his name?
Matt Patricia.
Matt, no, isn't it Pat?
Matty Patty.
I don't
Matt
know.
Patricia.
Anyways, he's a new defensive quarter for the Eagles.
And he came from the Patriots.
Came
and
from the
he's
Pa-
bad luck, just like all their coordinators. Am I wrong?
Nope, you
all
are
of the
not wrong.
coordinators that come from the Patriots eventually start bleeding that Patriot nonsense into the teams, and it doesn't
Belichick
not work.
way.
It doesn't work. It doesn't transfer.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
Is that the Belichick curse?
I think they just think they've had like a winning recipe forever, and it's like, it's not working now.
Right.
I think
Someone's
they
come
don't
forward.
have the brain that Belichick has. So
Yeah.
they're trying to replicate bits and pieces, and I agree. They can't, they don't have his mind
Yeah.
to make it translate
Yeah, you
anywhere
can have
else.
all the ingredients, but you can, if you're not good at cooking, you cannot make
Yeah,
a masterpiece. You know, and I think that's what we're seeing from them.
So what do you think? Do you think the Eagles are going to? I mean, what do you think? Who is going to come out of the NFC? Like,
Ooh, I mean, obviously,
who's a front runner right now? After those holiday games, who's a front runner for
I think
the
still
NFC?
the Niners. Still the Niners. Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the Lions. I'm gonna be
Right.
biased
Yeah.
and put them up there.
Right.
agree.
I'm not changing. It's Niners Ravens Super Bowl. I'm not changing.
Any thoughts on
Prove
that?
me wrong.
No, it's true. I know. I
me
don't
wrong.
want.
I don't know. If
I
you
don't
go
wanna
off the color theory, then it is definitely Niner Ravens. But
Oh, the colors
I don't
theory.
know. I don't know.
I know.
Yeah.
I'm not sold on the Ravens yet.
I know. A lot of people have said that.
I
We've
am
had
not
Joe
sold on
Davis
the
here, and
Ravens.
didn't he say the same thing?
Well, Joe didn't see the game last night.
I wasn't sold on the Steelers either, but they beat the Bengals down pretty good too. Any
know.
given day, man.
No, and that's the
Any
beauty of
given
football,
day.
right? I mean,
Yeah.
that's how it should be.
Yeah.
And at this point, everyone's banged up, everyone's hurt, everyone's tired.
Yes.
People are rolling the Bengay on, like they're tired.
Well, let's
So-
talk about the Steelers Bengal game, right? Because there's a lot of controversy around the Steelers, right? Should Mike Tomlin go? That was starting to become a thing. Pickens, was a wide receiver, right? And
Yes.
he wasn't blocking last week. He literally was like,
But Rudolph found him this week,
exactly.
and
But
nobody wanted Rudolph.
These are all the.
And
These
the
are
team came forward and we tried not to. I'll tell you what, the Bengals are 0-5 in the AFC North.
yeah.
Sorry, Mr. Browning.
Yeah.
You had a decent game, but not decent enough.
Well, Tomlin, just to go back to, should he go or should he not? And I have been very vocal about my thoughts on Mike. I think I said it last week. I said, I think he's a great coach, but I think sometimes a change of scenery is good for everybody. But I did go down the rabbit hole, and he has 1 Super Bowl, 2 Super Bowl appearances, 7 divisional titles, and 10 trips to the playoffs.
He's a good coach.
He's a
not done
great
yet.
coach.
He's not a Belichick.
And I think they're going to extend his contract.
they
He's-
should.
I think the Steelers have had 3 or coaches in like 50 years or something like
Yeah.
that. Like they don't get rid of coaches.
Yeah.
But I'm sure there's a lot of teams that could use a Tomlin in their life. Then let's talk about the Rams.
Just surprising the world, aren't we?
Yes.
The Rams are like, let's make something happen.
What is going
insane.
on? They are in a 3-game winning streak right now.
I don't
Wow.
And I'll tell you what, as a Niner fan, I'm like, here we go. And of course, we're going to end this year's regular game between the Niners and the Rams. And the Rams,
Is it at home? Where's the game?
it's in Santa Clara.
That's good.
Yeah. But Stafford's doing his thing, 24 for 34, 328 yards, 2 touchdowns. And Puka's doing his thing.
Puka.
Puka
Yeah.
Nacua, we love him here.
Cooper Cup and Puka.
The two of them, the way they balanced those two.
It's
wow.
almost like, where's Cooper
Cooper
Cup? I was going to say Rush.
Well, they've leaned to Nakua.
Yeah.
You know, when Cooper got hurt, they're like, okay, this guy's hurt. We don't really care. We're going to put Nakua in. He's doing great. Cooper's like, I'm better and I'm ready to play. And they're like, I don't know about that. You
Yeah.
know, take a break.
Yes.
Take a break and take a breather, you know?
The Rams have held 3 teams under 100 rushing yards.
They're looking good. Detroit's had
good.
to play them in the playoffs, and I'm that's going to be I'm not looking forward to that.
So the Rams,
It's going to be a
team.
battle.
Upset
Stafford's
team,
coming.
for
He's
sure.
coming for blood.
Ooh.
yeah, and don't forget, it's so funny. So when the Rams won in 2022,
Yeah.
man, I heard from a lot of Rams fans. They've been really quiet since
Yeah,
then.
yeah.
Really quiet.
Understandably.
And this has been the biggest winning streak they've had since their Super Bowl. Don't forget, the Rams won the Super Bowl in 2022, and then they literally
Fell off
did
the face of the earth.
nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
They
so
didn't even-
forgettable for that reason. I feel like
They didn't
Yeah.
make it to the
what?
playoffs. They would think they were like the first team that didn't make it to the playoffs after a Super Bowl.
Wow.
So
I mean,
now,
they thought they had the best running back in the world. And, oh gosh, that shows you.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
That's how
can't remember
forgettable.
his name. But then where did he end up going? I don't know. They had that running back that people were just insane over. Oh
where's
my gosh.
he now?
Diana, can you please look it up? I just say Rams' favorite running back. I don't even know where he is now, but he was the glue to that team that people were like, this is the new Rams culture. We're going to have it. And he just kind of fell off the face of everything.
Yeah, I have
And
no
now I don't
idea
remember
who
his
that
name. The
is.
minute you say it, I'm going to remember it.
I have no idea who that is.
I'm
but-
just excited they beat Derek Carr and the Saints and sent them right on.
So how do you feel about Derek Carr now that
I'm glad he's gone.
really?
was
Why?
He's not. I mean, I know the stats say different. He's not a franchise player, in my opinion. He was not. I mean, he's a great guy, but I'm glad he's gone. I'm always glad. And then the way he held out to really screw over the Raiders, after that contract, I'm glad he got
But
beat.
can I just say, okay, so I really want to ask you. as a
Finally,
Raider
I
fan.
want to know. See, now she's not a Chargers fan anymore.
No.
I thought there was going to be more.
I
sparks
want to
over here.
ask as a Raider fan, the people that are still complaining about Carr, the people that are still whining about him, it's kind of like you're one of those people that's like, I won the lottery, but I'm going to bitch about having to pay for my
100%.
taxes. Like, he's done. He's gone. Let's move on from the subject. He wasn't that bad of a quarterback until he
I
got
think he
bad
was.
at the end.
I mean, the back injury, the ankle, he's a crybaby. Here's the thing about true Raider fans, right? And maybe because I'm half Italian
I love
and
it.
half Spanish, right?
Give it to
me. Ooh,
so you go from
spicy.
0 to 60, right? I'm a hater. I love it. So once you leave, you're dead to me. You are dead. So, I'm like,
I
no,
respect that.
go, bye, see you.
respect that.
Dead, you're dead. So Khalil Mack,
I like that.
yeah.
Dead to you.
Yeah, no, dead to me.
What
Dead
about
to me.
Jimmy G? He's still on the sidelines.
I mean, he never was really a Raider,
Oh.
right? He was never a Raider. He was a has-been for the 9. No, no,
say it.
And everyone's like, he's so good.
These are
looking.
some fighting
First
words.
off, that doesn't win us football games. I
Sure
don't care
doesn't.
what he looks like, right? But no,
Yeah.
no.
too
Jimmy,
soft.
that was true Raider form, right? They signed a has-been. Who was it?
Who was
Marcus
it?
Allen that could throw on his knees. I'm like, what is that going to do for us? You're going to throw on your knees? Like, this is what Raiders do. So no, and I'm a hater. I would be the girls who won
I love
all that
her.
money, predicted the Super Bowl several years ago.
Yeah.
Based on the cities that had the best shopping.
Yeah.
That's me. Like
I
I
love
from my
it.
gut.
I love
no.
it.
Once you're dead to me, you're dead to me. You're dead.
Yeah.
So, no.
Wow.
Derek
I
Carr
back
can-
it.
Yeah.
I back
Yeah.
it.
I
She
love
can
it.
admit, she said exactly what I said how many podcasts ago. The Raiders do what the Raiders do.
Yeah.
And that's okay because the Chargers do what the Chargers do. Our day will come. It's just not today.
I mean, I don't know. By the time,
When?
yeah.
When though? When will
I
it
don't
Hopefully
know.
by the time one of us is still living and breathing on this planet.
And can afford a Super Bowl ticket.
We have a lot of Raider fans that follow us. They come out of nowhere. And
They
every-
do.
you know
And
what?
I love them.
We love
Have you
Raider
noticed? We
Nation.
love a Raider Nation. And so when I posted about your win, we got a lot of comments of thank you for repping the Raiders. I'm like, don't get crazy though.
Yeah.
Don't get crazy. But
I mean,
we're-
it was a good game. A win's a win.
Yeah.
Right?
100%.
That's
We're
it.
always going to talk about the teams that are in the conversation.
Yeah.
I was happy for the Raiders. I say it all the time.
Yes.
And I will always say this. They have the best stadium.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I will give the
Yeah.
Raiders
Stadium,
that.
the most perfectly
Well,
put
Vegas is
together
smart.
stadium with moving those grasses in and out. Like,
Yeah.
something's working up there.
Now, we do want to end with a couple of things. One, we do have a few of our followers. They ask us to talk about something.
Yeah,
So I'm gonna adhere to that. One, shout out to Jen who follows us. She goes, will you ladies talk about the NIL?
Perfect.
Yes.
What are our thoughts? And I'd like to open it up. What are your thoughts on the college players right now?
I think that it's been proven for a long time that college athletes were, kind of workhorses. And I know that they're getting free education, but when you're selling their jerseys in the stores and online and they're making a lot of money off of, Mark Sanchez wearing a USC jersey, some dividends should be paid out to the players.
Absolutely.
I fully agree that
Yes.
the players deserve some sort of something. A lot of these kids are coming from like single income families.
Yes.
They're getting to a Division I school and they're fighting for that spot every single
And they have to
semester.
have somewhere to sleep, something to
Yeah.
eat. It's not just, it's they get something,
I
but
mean,
they don't
need
get everything.
$4.8 million
But
worth
it's
of
a
where to
little
eat
hard.
and sleep. But
100%.
when one's making 4.8 and then you look at Brock Purdy,
Yes.
and he's making $900K.
So for our newer fans, I feel like we have to bring it back
Please.
a little bit.
Yeah.
So NIL meaning name, image, and likeness, right? And this is licensing now that colleges are offering their players as a means to make money. So legally, which because this has been a whole thing underground for a while. But yeah, so now there are NFL players that are getting, $900,000, like we know about Purdy. And then there are college players using this new agreement that are making millions of dollars. And so just that contrast, it's a newer subject. This is not something that's been around for 20 years.
Right.
So
And being the oldest probably on the stage,
I don't know.
I'm okay with that. Or I don't know.
That ain't
Okay,
none of our
I'll take it.
business.
Being where I'm probably more like the old school. Right?
yeah. So what do you think?
So I agree with everything you guys said. However, as a fan of the game, as a fan of the NFL and college, it does change a little bit of the draft,
Yes.
because the whole thing about the draft is these guys fight so hard to get into the NFL because their lives change.
Right.
You change the dynamics of
Life-changing
your
money.
of your family. The tree, the family tree, you have a chance to change it all. And it loses, I think, a little bit of the excitement in the draft.
Yeah.
Because
100%.
you're already wearing a fucking $1 million watch.
Right. You already have.
I'm sorry, like Deion Sanders' son. He's already
not very
doing
good.
this in the freaking end zone. Like he already got his bag,
And
right?
you wait till he gets to the NFL and gets punched in the mouth.
Oh, right,
100%.
right?
And that
Right.
Rolly ain't gonna help him there.
Not at
But
all.
you get what I'm saying? Like
I think there should be a cap.
I wish it would
Yes.
be a cap.
Yes.
I
You
think there needs to be a little bit, because there still needs to be some sort of excitement of why you, because if that
Right.
was the other thing, like as a college player,
That's the end goal, to get to the
end
NFL.
goal is to
Yes.
get to the NFL.
Yes.
Now, if I'm a college player and my team's rolling and I'm making $4 million, I might stay another year or two.
Yeah.
I
But
don't
don't
want
you
to
think
get
the
hit in the
NCAA
mouth.
wants that?
I don't want to get hit in the
No,
mouth.
you don't. But the NCAA would love you to stay. another
Exactly.
year. This is going to be the big.
So this is the
controversy.
big thing. And don't forget, when you talk about the college, players, and you get this kind of money, you're also worried about injuries.
Oh yeah.
Right? So it's like this back and forth, because if I'm a player, I want my money now, because if I get injured, I'm done.
Right.
And there was a controversy. Do you guys remember some of these players, like, I don't want to play because I don't want to get hurt because I want to get into the NFL.
Yeah.
But so I go back and forth, but I think the common, if we were to come up with a little bit of this, a little bit of that, a cap of some sort.
They need to give Reggie Bush back his Heisman if they're going to be doing that.
100%.
100%.
I'm glad you brought that up. Say it one more time for
They
the
need
people
to
in the
give
back.
Reggie Bush back his Heisman.
Wait.
Yes.
Can we all agree on that?
Yes. And can you tell the newer fans a little bit about that
Yeah,
story?
let's do it.
Tell them a little bit about the Reggie Bush story.
So, and correct me if I'm wrong,
Yeah.
but they stripped him. I mean, this is a prestige. This is something that these players
Work
work
so
for.
hard.
But they stripped him because he was getting paid
Yes.
back in the day before this was
Under
we
the
had
table.
NIL under the table. And as college, that was against the rules. So they took it away from him. How many years later? I mean, years and years after he was done.
They made an
playing.
example out of him.
Yeah, made an example out of him. And
Not cool.
Yeah, now you got some kid making $4.8 million.
What a slap in the face to him. You
And
know?
if- and-
100%.
Yeah.
And for you fans that maybe don't live in the LA area, there's billboards out here right now with Reggie Bush, who was a Trojan, USC, saying give him
Right
back
on.
his Heisman Trophy. And
Yeah.
for some of the people that don't know, a Heisman Trophy is like the MVP of college, right?
Yes.
So I think
Okay.
we can all agree that it's fair that they make money.
Yeah.
It's just how much.
They
Yeah.
are getting an education to stay longer, right? Hopefully, they're getting an education. They're going to get to do something with their life if it's not the NFL.
Yeah.
But to make immediate money to get
But
to
I
room
think
But
Another
4.8
year.
is,
Yeah.
I agree.
What college kid needs to make $4 million? No.
And there's also studies on that too. What happens when they make that kind of money at that age? So
Yes.
there's a lot to unpack, and it's not just we're not going to solve it here.
Yeah.
on,
Give a
on the
19-year-old
stage.
$4 million.
You know what I
Get
mean?
outta
But
here.
I do think it's a good thing to talk about. And Jen,
Yeah.
I hope that you appreciated us. We got your and if you guys have questions or
Yeah,
you guys
send the
want to
topics.
send us topics, we are down to talk about whatever you guys want to hear about. But let's end with this, man. We have a couple of big games this week, and this is where it all gets really spicy, right?
I need a
Oh.
break. I'm tired.
Week 17, girl. Dallas versus Detroit.
You guys say a little prayer. Say a little prayer.
Where's the game?
And
Where's the
Detroit-
game?
It's in
I think
Dallas,
it's in
right?
I don't.
No, I think it's
Detroit.
Detroit.
Yeah, I think it's in
okay.
Detroit.
That's
And the big game.
Here we go.
Dolphins versus Ravens.
yes.
I'm going Dolphins.
Yes.
I'm going
Dolphins.
Dolphins. I'm
Yes.
going
Going
Dolphins.
Yes.
Fins up.
Fins up.
Fins
Fins
up.
up.
Oh,
Yes.
you know I'm
Mike
going
McDaniel.
fins up.
Yes.
I want to see
Not
them go
answering.
down.
Yes.
Gotta do it.
I want that
but
swagger from Mike. I want the whole, yes. Give me the
love that
whole
guy.
Miami experience.
agree.
Let's do it. Well, we're here for it. And I'm going to say it faithful, win, lose, or tie, always. And as always, keep it sexy.